So this session will focus on shoulder stability and also mobility, so it's your shoulder's ability to move. So we're going to start kneeling. So you're sitting back on the heels, and obviously if it gets quite intense for your ankles, take time to come forward and loosen yourself off again. We'll clasp the hands together, push the arms forward, really press away and allow the upper back to round, the shoulders to push forward. And then on your next inhale, we'll bring the arms above the head, push up, squeeze the elbows towards one another. And then you're going to bring the hands behind the head. You're going to bring the shoulders up towards the ears and then allow them to relax back down again. And then we're going to press the elbows back and lean a little side to side. So you feel as though one armpit is stretching, and then the same, the other side. Good, and you might just change the angle slightly. Maybe the elbow goes up and back. But just doing what feels good for your body, doing what feels right in your body. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly come back to center. Release the arms wide and down. The palms are facing forward. We'll press up onto your knees. And then inhale, shoulders forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Take a few big circles around with the shoulders. Good, and you're going to think about these circles because we're going to keep those circles going so that when you now come down to all fours, you're feeling wrists beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips, and you're going to have those same circles up to your ears and round. And it doesn't matter which direction you go because in a moment, we'll then swap direction. Good, so just exploring how that is for your shoulders. Of course, if at any point it feels painful or a sharp pain, then just stop there. We're going to turn the hands to face one another on the little finger side of the hand, and then ease the hips back, coming back to child's pose, but pressing the little finger side of the hands down to the ground. Keep pressing those little finger side of the hand down. We're going to maintain that tension as you lift back up, and then both hands can come down again. Push the ground away, super strong in the shoulders, and then you're going to try and keep the shoulders and the hips level. Bring the weight to one hand. See if you can lift the other hand and tap the shoulder. Good, same to the other side. So bring the weight to the hand first. Try and keep the shoulders and the hips level, and then take that tap. Good, really, really slowly as you transfer from one side to the other to tap. And then the same, the other side to tap. Good, we'll walk the knees back. So you've got more of a straight line, knees to hip to shoulder. And we'll do the same thing. So the weight comes into one hand. Try and keep the hips and shoulders level as we take a tap. The same, the other side. Again, swapping sides a couple more times. And then relax. Knees come back in beneath the hips. We're going to tuck the toes, float the knees just an inch or so off the ground, and then do exactly the same. Now what you'll find, the hips will want to shift a lot more, and you'll also want to lift the knees higher. So trying to keep hips level and knees just off the ground as we do this. Good, after a few more taps, you can then lower the knees, bring the hips back, and then we walk the hands wide and away from you for a wide arm child's pose. Really feeling the hips heavy and hanging back. Walk the hands back in line with the shoulders so they're straight forward from you, and then keeping the elbows tucked in, we're going to go forward and up to cobra. So elbows tucked in, forward and up to your cobra, tracing the chin as much as possible along the ground. Release, tuck your toes, come to downward facing dog. Knees lower down, hips move back to child's pose. And again, trace the chin along the ground. Keep the elbows tucked in as much as you can. Steady, forward and up to your cobra. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. And then knees down, hips back, child's pose. Again, trace the chin forward and up to your cobra. And then back to downward facing dog. Walking on the spot. And then lower the knees down, lower the elbows down, and you want to keep the elbows beneath your shoulders. You can either bring the hands together, or if you can, you keep them apart. But if you keep them apart and you find the elbows slip wide, rather keep the hands together. So pressing down into the ground or pressing the hands together, or tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, coming to your dolphin pose. You want to really push the ground away so you've got as long line as possible from your elbows to your shoulders to your hips. Maybe even bend the knees a little, bring the hips a bit higher. Really push the ground away, and we're just going to hold there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then slow to release down, slide the hips back. And resting the forehead. Good. Take a few deep breaths there to finish off. And then walking the hands back in towards you. Well done.